Yo everyone, Skoggul here. Trying to bring something out that I've seen recently. I've seen it used against me. As you might have learned from some of my videos, I love Taric. So, when you don't get Taric, what champions go well against him? Leona can, depending on the AD carry. Lulu, again, AD carry factors. But I'll tell you someone who has a really good game against him is Zyra. Zyra has three forms of CC, a passive and an ult that don't really matter that she's not AP Zyra, and the ability to get kills in lane. You can land your binds through minions, unlike Morgana. You can protect fairly well. You can keep yourself sort of safe, even though dying's not always the worst thing, as your passive can turn a fight. The hard part of Zyra, giving your carry the kills and not you, because it's really easy to get the kills. And so I don't drop my ward top because I can't remember. Something happened. Something happened, no ward top. So, not a big deal. So you want to start with your E when you're playing support Zyra. Just watch my thing. I'll get E, I get W, I get E again, I get Q, I get E again. Max your W second because that 20% CDR is pretty big. And so yeah, you want to just give a leash, bind a little bit, maybe take some less damage. You know, good leashes are always nice. If he can go smiteless, then you've done him a great service. And it looks like he did, so we're doing okay there. Okay, so the important thing is you want the control. You have the wards, and you can do some damage to punish people, especially a non-sustained lane. You want to get the carries, but when the support overextends, like Lulu's a great support to counter-initiate and to initiate when you're stronger. But when you're equal footing, she really has some issues with her initiate. And I want to make sure that Twitch is going to be punished if he goes for my AD carry anymore. So that's kind of what's happening there. At least our Skarner DCs, that's always useful. Makes your chances go better. So if I could just get level 2, we could get this for sure. But with that flash, he exposes himself. He's going to try to get away, but Ezreal took Arcane Shift and has flash. So we have a lot there. And that gives me vision, and that's going to hit some damage there on her. So I know it was close there, but I got myself out. The big thing is to know how to trade and not die. It's a lot bigger of a deal to not die than it is to get a kill. So that really helped that Ezreal followed that up like a boss. Let's go back into this. The whole start to this thing happens the very first trade right here. When Lulu checks the brush past her minion line, she takes half her life. And even though Ezreal did too, she probably has less. She's got just boots, and if you had a ward at all, which she did, she put 2 wards out with the boots. If you have boots, you only put 1 ward out, so you save your second ward. That's something important I want to show you, is she took boots 2 wards, so now they have no vision. If Skarner were to come through after 5 minutes into the game, they'd have nothing. So that's not a good idea. I'll hit R so you see. We're still level 1, but both their guys are half-life. So I'm able to land that on Twitch, and because he took Arcane Shift, he easily picks up the kill. And here's how I get vision. Drop the seed for the vision. That's important there. Without that seed and that vision and the 2 slow procs, she wouldn't have taken enough damage to back off from chasing me down. And that was why we were able to get that second kill. And now Ezreal has a free lane to farm. I'm just going to back, because if I don't back, I'm just going to end up feeding this. You don't want to stay in life with that low of health. One of your primary goals is to not die. And so I've got a little bit of vision in the brush, and I have a decent amount of gold because I took up 2 assists, and those 2 assists grant me the regrowth pendant, and I get 2 more wards. So I have a ward in the lane brush, because Lulu was camping it aggressively, and when they're camping it aggressively is when you ward the lane. The other time is if you're afraid that they can lane gank. Those are the 2 times to ward the lane. Other than that, you don't really want to. You don't need to, I guess is a better word, especially with someone like Zyra who can just drop seeds in it. So at this point I'm out here without my AD carry, but I have my snare, and in some ways I'm just trying to intimidate them, get a vision off of what's going on. The jungler, I guess, could come right then, but I probably could have gotten out of it with my bind. You have quite a bit of options to get out of stuff. So, thanks to our kills bottom, and then our mid got killed, but our top got a kill, so our other lanes are even and we're ahead, and you can see Ezreal's level 4. So basically, had I gotten the plant off a little bit faster, that would have been a decent amount of damage instead of just a snare. One thing about support Zyra is I really have not had mana issues on her. I might even just start playing her mid a lot because she's just not having many mana issues, and that's a pretty big deal in a lot of matchups. And I barely miss between them, but I do get the slowdown, and he is taking some damage from the plant. You can see that it does do a decent amount of damage to Twitch, and that's pretty important when Lulu doesn't have a great amount of sustain. And so I missed my snare, but Ezreal was safe, and she really takes a decent amount of damage just for trying to do that. And I can still just prop vision in the brush with my plant before I walk in toward it. And that's pretty good tool to use, realize what when you support. And now that their junglers there, I was afraid they could camp the second brush. So that is when I use my wards to camp brush. And yeah, it took a little bit too much damage trying to force a trade. Not necessarily a good thing. It's not going to kill me though. Regrowth Pendant, when I look at their items, Lulu does not have a Regrowth Pendant, but she does have the movement speed. So they can chase and escape, but they don't do well in trades yet. You need that Regrowth Pendant on Lulu before trading too much is a great idea. And Twitch goes invisible and I miss him. And that they don't want to go anywhere near this bush. I'm just trying to create bush control and poke. You can see that my mana's high enough that it doesn't matter that I'm poking. You can try and try again, and the thing is you're going to land some of them. You should probably land more than I did there, but, you know, it happens. You have games where you don't miss, and then Twitch just goes invisible for really no awesome reason. I try to cut him off, and he cuts that way, which really puts him out of position. So he might have dodged my skill shot, but it really forces him to go into a position which was not good for him. He had to cut back towards my side and not towards his. He needed to have not used his invisibility spell for no reason, and maybe he could have then invised into the brush and then walked out the other side maybe for what he was doing. And I put that over just to scout to see if the jungler's coming, because I only had the one ward left and I didn't know if we were leaving lane anytime soon. I really didn't want to rush over and ward that tri-brush, so I'm going to try to keep a couple plants out for... You watch your plant timers, and when they're full, you can easily use them as scouts, and they're just going to respawn another one. You can see how full of mana I stay. And that was with trading, with doing stuff. Taric at this point would have no mana. And there goes your 30-second ward. But I mean, it is 30 seconds of vision. That's a lot, and it can check brushes for you, and that's a lot cooler than people give it for. And yeah, that's going to kill throwing the plants at the tower will kill it, but landing your plants just gets in their head. So it makes them think every time I run out, they have to dodge me. And if they're dodging me, they're not farming or landing their skill shots very effectively. And at this point, I think I do get tired of the board not being brushed. And you can just see right there that it's not that hard to get away from a Fiora, especially with Ezreal here. So we've got the stuns. Unfortunately, he had a flash. Had they dove us, we would have had kills. But they don't have the lane pushed. I really probably should have checked over the wall with the brush first. But that's pretty much why you need to keep that tri-brush warded when you're going to be continuously pushed. When we were back, I didn't care that the tri-brush wasn't warded because they weren't going to really get a jump on us. But now they'll get a jump on us. Okay, so 3 points into E, 1 into W, 1 into Q. Just letting you know, you max that E, and then you get the W. The Q is like one-hit wonder. Putting too many points into your Q can cause you to take farm from your carry or steal more kills from him. You don't really want to do that. You're not AP Zyra. You are first and foremost, you are a support. So now I have my shoes, and my shoes are a big deal. They are going to let me move faster, get my wards out, do different things, and I think I didn't even mean to flash that. But yeah, we pick up the easy kill. I didn't even flash to land a snare. I flashed to auto attack. If I meant to do that, then that was a really bad play. So I want to sit here and hope that I didn't mean to do that. I'm not sure which is true. So we spot Fiora. Want to ping that. You always want to be pinging that. So yeah, you can see how we're way ahead, and they're so afraid of that. It's like going against Morgana, and you're just once she gets ahead, then that snare becomes super deadly. At this point, if I can snare either Twitch or if I can snare Lulu, we pretty much can burst off half their life, even though full. We probably don't want to all in them yet, but we're getting to the point where it's not that outrageous for us to throw the snares all and try to all in them. You could see how much damage we just did by landing one snare under their tower, taking tower hits and winning trades. So that puts them at a severe disadvantage, and I land the one, and we force out the Lulu ult. That was off one snare, and I cannot heal him. He gets the double kill, but nothing I can do to make it 2 for 0. Being extended at this point and having no idea where Fiora is could just give Fiora a kill. As much as I want to stay and abuse that tower, Katarina was on the way down, and when I disappeared, she went back for the race. So I probably would have just fed Katarina. My decision making was, if I saw Kat or I saw the jungler top, I was going to go for the tower. But when I didn't, then I figured let the lane reset from the tower and just get back out there with my Ezreal will be fine. So I'm closer to my Heart of Gold. I do not like going Katie's Lucky Pick. Real quick, I have the 18. I went 2 ability power Quints. Did I go 3? I have 2 or 3 ability powers in my Quints. And there goes my bind and my ult. And he just disappears. Just real quick. Let's slow this down. So, I was talking and I kind of forgot that this happened. So they came out to mid lane after we had just tower dove them. So Twitch comes past the minion line. He's wanting that farm really bad. And from the brush, when they move towards Ezreal and come to face check this brush, now they're landing. The bind lands on both of them. The plants are out and attacking. And here comes all my plants, and here comes the big damage plant, the slow plant, the double snare. It's not even a single snare. It's not first like Morgana. It's the double snare. And it roots up everybody and pops them in the air. So that is what he brings. I mean, it makes... I know Nunu, if you pull off a really cool... But that's not hard to pull off, unlike Nunu. So we know that Katarina's here. We know that Fiora's there. And with Nunu... our mid, this is one of my buddies I play ranked with, but when he's there, then we have the advantage because they don't have an AD carry. We would have won that fight. We don't really need Skarner, who I think is AFK again. He's like not here ever, and I think Ezreal looks better with in his little kitty form. That's just the new form. Ezreal can now shapeshift into a kitty. I'm pretty sure that's what happened right there. I don't think Lulu has any abilities that make him into kitties. Anyhow, back to a more serious note. I'm trying to come mid to see if a gank is possible. I don't have my ult for a minute, and that makes it hard. And I also saw Fiora and didn't want my mid to be in a 2v1 situation. And so I'm a little bit lost as what to do. I've got my wards out, and if Ezreal's getting that solo experience, it's a little bit better for him than if I'm soaking up experience, and he's not in danger right now. He is doing really well. So this will allow us to get back in lane. I've been gone for so long that they might actually be crazy enough to try land a long distance snare, and Ezreal's able to follow it up. And there's not a lot that Twitch can do about it. Even that plant right there hits them for enough damage. They can kill it, but it hits them for enough damage that it's okay with me that they're going for it. So you can see, oh, he lands his ult, and this was just an easy one. Snared, he gets ulted, pop back up. He needs to clear the tower anyway, so we might as well chase for a second. But at this point, it's kind of crazy to keep chasing because I'm very afraid that Katarina and Fiora are on the way. But the nice part is, once you clear tower range and the lane's pushing, you can just go right back through the lane. So yes, Fiora was there. And just the intimidation of that little seed, I mean, it was enough. It's kind of interesting that that's enough, but it is. Yeah, and then trying to get the plant, but she flashes. Or she shunpoed if I'm retarded, so... Anyhow, we made her just run away instead of try to assassinate someone. It's a lot better when the assassins are scared and running than it is when the assassins are coming at you to murder you. That's a lot less scary. And I accidentally auto-attack from the brush, revealing myself, and that's really not a great thing to do. Don't try to get better than me at that. It's easy to forget, but that's something that can expose your position and take away your plan to attack and kill somebody. So that can cost you a kill. Don't do that. Here I'm just going to... We're just trying to push this, get it back to the tower, keep Twitch last hitting under the tower. I mean, it has really made a difference when you're 114 to 69, you're 6-1, and you're 1-4. And that's with me stealing a few creeps just by the nature of throwing aggressive plants that attack constantly. And we do not have... they have that warded. You can tell that's warded when the minions come for you. But we see that Fiora is coming. Then we're going to be 3-on-2'd here in a minute. So I kind of set up a bunch of seeds in this brush so that I could really punish anyone who tried. But backing out's the best plan here. Just staying aggressive, constantly pushing is just going to get us into a bad fight. And so now that I'm 9 and I have 5 points in E, my next goal is to max my W. It gives me faster cooldowns, and I still never run out of mana. It's not like I even build mana items. I mean, a Philowstone's enough. I could see her being valid mid just because I never seem to be out of mana. So that's... She's an awesome auto attack, which helps you farm. Not that she was supposed to be a mid. I'm not trying to say she's a support that could mid, because you kind of see the Jannas do that. You'll see a Sona or a Soraka mid occasionally, but I'm just saying, like, I see why she's a mid champion. She has some cool little advantages. And there's no real point to doing that other than I want to zone them while I'm farming. I want them to think about my plant and not that I'm going to prop wards out in the brush. I want them really focused that the plant's at issue. And so I just need to keep vision so that we can fight. And I'm around the corner so they can't really see me. I was hoping Twitch would get a little bit more aggressive. And he doesn't, but that's okay. Zoning them is sometimes enough. And just my seeds are zoning them at this point. Just the seed. I mean, it's not even a plant thing yet. And we could kill their tower at any point we wanted. And so there's all the... I take as many tower shots as I can to try to set that up. And you can just see how, in their mind, that would abuse them. I thought we'd even be able to pick up a kill. We didn't get the kill. It happens. Nothing you could do. I took as many shots I could hit to do as much damage as I could. Threw out as much of my stuff as I could get. I had the double seeds, the ult, which makes them attack faster. I had my Q and my E seeds shooting them. And I mean, they were full to almost dead really fast. So, my burst is actually fairly high, especially for a support. And here me and, well, Skarner goes top, and we know that Nunu Ting's there. We wanted to see if we could sneak in Dragon and get our mid running over. They ward. Well, I ward the brush. They ward the brush. There's no real advantage they have there, and we get the Dragon. They tried to snipe it, but they would have had to make a better commitment than that if they really wanted to snipe it. So since the bottom tower's down, we wanted to keep a lot of that jungle warded. Right now you can see we basically have a blanket. They have to come from their base or behind their tower to get into that jungle to get to us. If they come from mid lane at all, we'll see them. So most routes are blocked off. I need to get in a little bit deeper with the ward. I picked up 5 more wards, have my double GP10s. That's all I have is boots, wards and GP10 items. And I'm going to try to get into this brush. That brush, for some reason, if I don't ward it, I have been caught by it before because people assume it's unwarded. And go help out the Ezreal. We get a really easy kill here because Fiora was trying to do red after she ran through wards. Like, that's, once you have the advantage, the farther you're pressed in and the harder you're pushing, the more important it is that you ward their jungle, because that gets you into the position to make plays. And this Twitch has kind of got himself in trouble. He's going to be able to kite for a little bit, which is kind of surprising. Oh, I lied. There's another time. Unless this is the wrong game entirely. But so even though we took a death here, Rengar's just going to dive, Skarner's just going to dive, and my thought was, if I'm going to start warding to even have the chance of doing Baron, that's kind of why you don't dive someone high damage like Katarina, is if we're going to do that, yeah, I forced a flash. Ult has less time than flash. We don't really get that kill. I was just trying to help my team any way I could. And this is something I kind of like about support Zyra. That is an Irelia who is now flashed. That is an Irelia that used her gap closer, and I still get myself out of there. So I know Irelia can stick to you, and so can Fiora, but I can get out of it a little bit with my snares. So you can see the deep level of ward coverage. One, I want to have their access, if we decide to Baron, that we would see it coming well in advance and not be surprised. So you have a decision to make. Do I peel off Baron now, or do I peel off Baron at the last? Can we finish it before they get here? Like, sometimes it's a good, the more warning you have, if you know you're not going to have Baron dead, you might as well peel early and try to jump into a brush and see if you can just brush kill somebody. So I probably should have picked up an Oracles, because I don't think my jungler has any interest in an Oracles. I don't know why, but a lot of times they want the support to do it, and that's fine. Squishy, but it's fine. So I think I'm trying to actually finish my Shrelia's Revelry. That's, people get away by so little, or we'll catch them barely when it could have been easier, or we don't get away. And there's Zed in there killing everybody except for, once again, Irelia. So Irelia comes for me, and that was while Skarner was DC'd and Ezreal wasn't there. So I'm trying to tell Ezreal to go, because he actually can be spotted from where he is. He has minions with him. So yeah, he took that tower, but he's very out of position, but they surrendered. So anyhow, that's it for that game. Hopefully we'll be able to talk a little bit more about it in the post game. Take care. Yo. So, since I have been on a support theme, we are going support Zyra in this game. And I like it. Oh, I forgot something. Be right back. I gotta ask why I play League of Legends and why I make videos for League of Legends and not a different game. And my camera sliding down. That was really cool. That camera sliding down was all part of this. But, so, if you can see here, I've illustrated my point. You see a young man in the middle, and he is urinating on Han. And on this side, that's the Aegis, that's Dota 2. He's urinating on both of them. And while that sounds implausible, I like to just pretend that he has just had sex the night before and has some residue left in his urethra, and that causes him to split the urination stream. But anyhow, the important part here, League of Legends is safely dry up here. And that is my illustration as to why I play League of Legends. So there you go, there you have it. And now, support. Support, a lot of reasons why I'm playing support is it takes a lot of skill to actually be really good at it. like a lot. And you have to understand the game in its entirety. You have to understand that when you take Lulu, you can stop a mid Katarina from ulting your team, or Taric, or Soraka can't. But Soraka can silence people who are tower diving. And they're tower diving. They're usually trying to chain CC so that they can kill you quickly and kill you. Get out of there. They're not trying to extend fight you. So you need to make the fight an extended fight by putting the armor buff up at the appropriate time, ulting at the appropriate time, and silencing at the appropriate time. That is not a great time to give mana back to somebody. That is a great time to silence the guy who went in first trying to CC you. If he doesn't have CC, he's probably not the guy to silence. Silence the CC. So when they're running at you, you need to make that decision fast. Silence the CC, and you might just get yourself a kill instead of a death. Or your teammate a kill, your AD carry, and you might save him. And all of a sudden you get stuff like you're pro, and you feel good about yourself. It's amazing how that works. I've made some friends that are like, I really would love if you would come support me, and then you support them the next game and they're not that good, and you don't really want your rank score to go up or down with theirs when they're not that great. That's neither here nor there. Anyhow, don't queue with people that are worse than you consistently. If they really don't show the adequacy to be good, it's not your job to train them. If you want to play normals with them and work with them because they were nice, please do that. Please be a friendly member of the community. But if they want to keep playing rank and leech off you because you're better than them, don't do that. Does that make sense, the difference? If they want help, saying you beat them in mid, but you guys were friendly opponents, so you say, hey, yeah, I could tell you how to work on that Ari that you just didn't beat me with. And you can say, and then if that guy's cool, he'll be like, yeah, cool. But it doesn't mean you need to queue together. What it means is that guy's nice and he'll help you. Listen to him. If he just beat you, he could tell you why he just beat you. He could tell you what plays you made. Unless he doesn't see it that way. Some people just see what they do and think they're awesome. Other people see it analytically. If they see it analytically, that's the type of guy you want to be your friend, because as you're learning a new champ, he can really point things out to you. So, if they're analytical, probably a good friend. If they're just emotional and you stomped, you're not going to stomp every game. No one does that. If you do, you'll eventually find your elo where you stop. And those people already know they can stomp, and they pretty much already know what elo they're good at. Just to let you know, if he's never climbed before, he probably can't consistently do that. He'll run into something he hasn't seen. And he might overcome it and keep climbing, but I'm just putting that out there. So, yeah, bottom lane. Bottom lane is about the AD carry protecting the support early, really. I've learned that at level 1 or 2, if you initiate anything as support, you can't do that much. So, you're basically hoping your AD carry follows up if they go out of position. And you're relying on a stranger. My basic advice is, unless it's super obvious, like a Taric stun, or Zyra landed a bind that wasn't too extended, like when that Lulu came at us. That was an easy call. A harder call was I landed a deep binding on Twitch. That was a tough call. He went for it, so I backed him up again, and it worked out. But that was a lot more risky than the one to Lulu. In fact, if we hadn't caught Lulu and knocked her pretty low before that, that might have gone very bad. You saw how low I got, and you saw how low Ezreal got the first time, and then they switched their focus off Ezreal to me, which was a mistake. Because if they killed me, I could have still done damage. So, honestly, as soon as they switched off their focus to Ezreal, it was okay for us to fight them. It's not you don't want to feed them, but it's not the worst thing if Zyra dies. If Zyra dies to their support, it's actually not really bad at all. If Zyra dies to their carry, though, that gold on the carry, try not to, but when you do, see if you can turn it with your ultimate, with your passive. Okay, so Zyra, that bind, you have to land if you can. If you are not good at landing stuff like that, don't play Zyra. Also, you need to throw those the snares up after the bind lands. The bind will land whether you throw those up or not. Those add 2 shots that slow by 30% and do damage. And the damage is decent on it, and those slows make it so bound, gap closer from your AD carry. They're slowed so they can't chase your AD carry, so he can either do free damage and get out, or if we're winning, you can chase really well because there's 2 slows on them. So they're slowed by quite a bit. So you could possibly still have your exhaust up, and that's the right time to use if you're going all in.
I have found Zyra to be good against the one champion that you got to be careful of is Leona. You really don't want to pick Zyra into Leona. She all-in's possibly better than you do. You can win it. It's going to be a lot more based on the AD carry instead of you winning your lane and helping your AD carry make an easy lane. That's your goal. Protect him, put wards out. And in team fights, your goal is to peel, and your team goal is to land that ultimate in a good spot. Hit as many people as you can. If you're not hitting more than one person, it's not always good. Sometimes when you're tower diving, you use it just because it gives your team an escape option too. Because when I would put it past the tower, if my team wanted to come back and not fully commit to a second tower dive, they could have come back to my ultimate, and then we could have turned again if they would have chased us into that pop-up. Okay, so that's my thoughts. That's Zyra support. I like it. I'm going to be playing more of it, trying to get it down. It's max your W next. That CDR on that is really good. You get that and the Philostone upgraded, and then you're at like almost 40%. I go Runes Masteries. I either go 3 AP Quints or 2 AP Quints with 1 GP10 rune. I'm playing with both. Masteries, you have to get the GP10 because you went that way, but I think you need 9 into offense. You can go 0 into defense. You can run a tricky little 9-9-12 or a 9-4 to get some tankiness, a little bit of tankiness, and 15. I like to have at least 15 into the utility tree, but the 9 in the offense is good. Now you have 6 points. You could go 21 deep into utility, or you can try to put those 6 points, get yourself some magic resistance, some armor, so that you can trade without being thing. The thing about Zyra is you cannot be super far forward like a Taric or a Nunu and be a bully. You have to kind of snipe people, and then you can kind of go in, but you more or less want to stay at your max auto attack range. You really don't want to be getting close to people. So that would be my main strategies with her. If they face check a brush and you have all your shit up, man, can you go off on people. And your team should be able to follow up on your huge amount of CC that you've just dropped. And that makes it really easy for most AD carries to realize, go in. So it's nice when you have a support that has an obvious flag. Why I think Leona works as a support for people who don't support much is instead of having to have a subtle flag like Sona, I mean, Sona's ult isn't subtle, but everything else is kind of subtle. Like, they have to be intuitive and understand. But you know what you don't have to be intuitive to understand? That Zyra pop-up. Alistar knocks someone in the air, yeah, you can probably shoot that guy. He knocks him back towards you, yeah, that's probably a good fight for you. Blitzcrank pulls, I mean, but Leona, when she goes in, you trust her to go in and chain CCs. And so if she's going in and time is spreading her CCs and not trying to use them all at once, because of the way her passive works, the way her damage works, if she goes in, uses 1 CC, waits, you hit, the damage goes, uses the second form, then it makes it really hard to fight, because every time you turn to fight, she has more CC ready for you, and then the first one might be up again. It's really annoying. I do not recommend picking Leona against Zyra unless you have a lot of experience on Zyra. So, anyhow, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed my little illustration. Everyone, good luck and take care.